Here's chess with a twist. Today, I'll be playing 3 Blitz matches, and in each of them, we'll be spinning the wheel of tragedy every 5 moves to find out what punishment it gives us. There are 6 punishments for each game, and every game they get more crazy, so be sure to stick around for the last one. Ready? Here we go. Game number 1, we've got some crazy punishments on the wheel and we're playing with the white pieces. So I'm going to start off with the first move, e4, and our opponent decides to play the Karo Khan. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to go for an alien gambit to get some really cool content here. So, next move, seeing as now this is our 5th move, we now need to spin the wheel for the first time in the video. Generally, to play the alien gambit, you want this move knight g5 followed up by h6 and then you capture on f7, but now let's see what the wheel gives us. So it says play your next move from the other side's perspective. So what we do is we're going to flip the board around for this move, and luckily we know what we want to play. We want to play this move knight g5, and seeing as we have now completed this, we can remove this off the wheel. And now we can flip it back to our own perspective as we could see earlier. So now we're into this position again. So now let's have a little think as to what we want to do. They're attacking our queen, and what can we do about this? Well, first of all, I think we could also just play this move knight f3, or we could do something tricky maybe with f3, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play this move knight f3, and I'm going to try and go for bishop c4 and get some nice ideas along here. I think this looks relatively decent for now. They might try and play something like h6 or e6 as we could see here, and in 3 moves time we will need to use our wheel again. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually try and go for bishop e3, and I'm going to go for queen d2 and actually long castle, because I think this looks really nice along this file here. But now in 2 moves time we will need to use our wheel, and it's going to give us some really cool crazy punishments. So it's going to be very interesting to see, and we're slightly down on time, but I think we will be okay here. Our opponent is still thinking. I think they're using their time to their advantage at the moment, seeing as they do have a little bit of time. Now they play this move bishop e7. I think I could continue with my plan of going for queen d2, because if they ever decide to capture here, well, I can simply capture back my knight and we're not even ruining our pawn structure. But on our next move, we do need to use our wheel, and let's spin the wheel for our 2nd punishment of the game. So what's it going to land on? It looks like it's going to land on green, which says you have 3 seconds on your next move. So seeing as we have 3 seconds on our next move, that means we can play whatever we want for this move, but on our next move, we need to spend 3 seconds or less. So what am I going to play now? I think I'm going to long castle because it looks really fun for the video. And now we've got 3 seconds. So now I simply bring my bishop back, and we played that move within 3 seconds. So we can go ahead and remove that off our wheel. So the reason I played bishop d3 here was to get some really cool pieces attacking the h7 square, which in the future could be really strong. And now we can play whatever we want for the next 4 moves. So this looks really nice. What I'm going to try and go for is maybe I could go for something like g4 and entice this bishop forward and then play rook g1. I think that looks pretty cool, because if they ever capture with their knight, for example, I can take on h7. So yeah, they decide to move their bishop back. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and maybe either play knight e5, or I'm going to simply capture this bishop, or I can go for h4 and then h5, which I think looks really nice, because if they ever capture here, then I'm just going to play rook g1, and I'm going to try and get some really active rooks. But in 2 moves time, we will need to use our wheel, so it's going to be very interesting, or 2 or 3 moves. One of them 2. I'm going to play rook g1 now. It looks pretty cool. We are gambiting a pawn, but it looks really fun. And now this is our 15th move, so we will need to spin the wheel once more. Hopefully it's not something too terrible, because I really want to be able to capture this knight back. And it says can only move a knight. Wow, this makes it interesting. We can only move a knight. So we can either move this knight or we can move this knight. I think my idea here obviously the best move is to simply capture back this knight, but we can't do that because of the wheel. So I think I'm going to capture on h7. I'm going to sacrifice our knight. It is obviously a huge blunder, but my idea is on the next move, I'm going to capture back this, and hopefully this hasn't wrecked our position too much, because now we are down a piece, but the thing is, we have an open file and maybe there's chances for us to still win, but we still need to fulfill 3 more punishments if it makes us do that. But I think now, maybe this move, queen h6, could be really cool, because they can't capture back because of this. So maybe that could work. Or I could just capture back the bishop as well. If I play queen h6, then they have bishop g6 though, and that stops us. So I'm going to simply capture back the bishop, and in 3 moves time we will need to use the wheel once more. So very scary stuff here. Now they attack our queen. What I'm going to do now is I'm simply going to, I think I'm just going to bring our queen across here. I don't think that blunders anything for the moment. And we have one more move left before we have to spin our wheel once more. So it's very, very scary. I'm now going to jump across with our king. They're probably going to drop back here. And now I'm going to play this move, queen h6. Don't worry, I'm not blundering a queen because we have our rook pinning the pawn to their king. A move here would probably be bishop f6 or maybe g6. I'm just thinking which one's better. I think g6, h5 could be a really nice move, but now I need to spin my wheel. Again, I need to be really quick, so I only have 23 seconds. The wheel needs to spin quickly. It says move the last piece that you move, so now I need to move my queen. How am I going to do this? So I'm going to move my queen here to f4, and now we've fulfilled that. Now this is very scary though, because I don't have long. I really don't have long. I'm going to move my queen again. It's being attacked. I really need to be quick here. Maybe knight g5 could be really nice getting into this position. I have very little moves before I need to spin this wheel again. If they capture, I capture back. So it could be really nice. What do we go for now? I'm going to go for f4 now. On our next move, we need to spin the wheel. So I need to kind of, I'm going to pre-move the wheel spin so that I don't need to waste time on spinning the wheel. So red or blue, what's it going to land on? It's going to land on blue. You must capture something. Well, that's fine. I can simply capture this knight. Awesome. So I fulfilled that. What do I do now, though? I don't know what to do. I guess I have to capture the queen. But now I'm going to run out of time. Oh, my God. Let's go here. So now I need to spin the wheel in 2 moves time, or 3 moves time. So this is really crazy. We have 3 seconds on the clock. Let's push this forward. Pre-move, okay. But now the next thing is obviously move a pawn of your choice. So I'm gonna capture here, move a pawn of your choice. I pre-move the wheel. Let's go here. Rook f6. Now I'm gonna go here. But now we've done all the wheel spins. But the point is, have we wrecked our position too much that we won't be able to win? And unfortunately, this was precisely the case. We were 3 pawns down and we fell to defeat in game number 1. And I think we're going to resign there, but I think we did a pretty good job fulfilling all the punishments. And yeah, we did all the punishments, and I reckon we got 39 moves in with all those punishments. So I reckon we did a pretty good job, and now on to game number 2 with even crazier punishments. Now we're on to our second game with even crazier punishments. We've got the white pieces against a 2000 rated player, and I'm going to start off with the move. Let's go with c4. We're going to play the English, and every 5 moves we have to spin the wheel as we did in the first game, and it's going to be very, very crazy to see what we have to end up playing. So now it is our 5th move, and we're going to spin the wheel and see what it gives us. So what's it going to land on is the very, very important question here. It's going to land on blue or red. It's very, very close. It's going to land on red just about, and it's move a flank pawn. So I think the best flank pawn to move here would probably be this pawn here to a3, and now from now we can remove this, and we are on to our next move. I'm going to play the move knight f3. I'm going to try and castle my king as quick as possible. I'm going to capture in the center, and I'm going to play this move d4, and I'm also going to castle my king. And now it is our 10th move. We have to spin the wheel once more. Crazy stuff. So what's the next punishment going to be? It says the next 2 moves can only be done by pieces starting on light squares. So, what pieces do we currently have on light squares? Well, we have our queen is on a light square, and I think our queen could be improved. But that means we can't move our dark squared bishop or our king or this rook or this knight, so it's going to be difficult. I think I'm going to move my queen to, let's go queen c2, and then the next move has to also be with a piece on a light square, and I think we're going to move, let's say we're going to move this knight to, I don't know where I'm going to move it actually. I'm going to bring my rook to d1, so we've completed that challenge, and now it is our next move. So now they move on their knight to e5, maybe could be a good idea, maybe to strike in the center with e4 could be nice, or maybe try and restrict them from coming to c4. But I think I'm going to go for e4 in the center of the board. In 2 or 3 moves time, we are going to have to use our wheel once more. E5 looks nice now, pushing the knight back to d7. And now I'm going to play this move bishop e2. And on our next move, we're going to have to use the wheel. So it's going to be very, very scary. So we got 4 punishments left in this game, but they are going to be very, very crazy. So, oh god, I think it's going to say move your king. So I have to move my king. At least it's technically not blundering anything, but I'm going to move it to, I think I'm going to move it to f1 is better than h1, because otherwise we're in the way of this bishop, so that's good. And now we can play whatever we want, of course, for the next 4 moves. This rook is a bit annoying, but I think I'm going to play this move rook c1. Then I'm going to try and move my queen out the way of this rook, because that could be dangerous in the future. So now they play this, activating their knight a little bit more, which is obviously a very, very nice move from our opponent here. I'm going to play this move. I don't know what I'm going to play. I'm going to play this. In 2 moves time, we are going to have to use our wheel again, which is going to be very, very scary. But we can go ahead and remove this punishment from our wheel. We now have 3 punishments left, which are play the next move after this one blindfolded, move your dark squared bishop, and pre-move your next move after this one. So those are the 3 punishments left. So that's going to be very, very difficult, but we're going to challenge ourselves, and we're going to do it well. So I'm going to play knight a2 to try and come to b4, or maybe get this as well. Could be very, very nice in the future. Yeah, I think this move bishop b4 could actually be very, very potent. It looks very, very nice. So we've got one more free move, and then we've got to spin the wheel again. I'm now going to bring my bishop to b4. It looks very, very nice and strong. So this could be very good, but the problem is, on the next move, we might not even be able to capture this rook, because we have to spin the wheel. So this is going to be crazy. Hopefully it lands on blue. Oh, it lands on red. Brilliant. That's what I wanted it to land on, because it says move your dark squared bishop. And, well, if we move our dark squared bishop, well, we can simply capture this rook. So amazing. Thankfully, we got a good punishment. So not really much of a punishment, but instead more of a Christmas gift. That's good. So now we get more moves to play by ourselves, which is amazing. And let's have a little thought as to what we want to do, but we have no time. So I have to do this quickly. I'm going to bring my knight to d2, hopefully try and trade off these knights at some point. We're up in exchange, so we've got a rook for a piece, but it's really dangerous. I don't really want to capture this, but I will. Then I'm going to bring my queen here. I'm going to block this passport. Well, not actually a passport. I'm saying that wrong, actually. But I'm going to try and just block this pawn from advancing. Could bring my knight to b4. Could be an option. Maybe could play rook d2 and rook c2 and rook e2. He's trying to bring his knight here, which is obviously a very nice idea. What can I do, though? Let's say I can bring my queen over here to f3. Could always be a nice idea, but on the next move we have to spin our wheel once more, and I'm actually just going to pre-move the wheel spin, so then I don't have to waste any time on it. I love how I'm pre-moving not only moves, but also wheel spins. And speaking of pre-moving, it says pre-move your next move after this one, so after this move I need to pre-move. So what could a safe pre-move be? I'm going to try pre-move this. So hopefully they capture it. If not, I'm going to force myself to play this move queen e2, and therefore, because I played this move queen e2, I am also blundering this rook, but they didn't see it. Although, they're also attacking my knight, so now what do? I guess I could play this, but then this attacks my queen. So I can't capture this. I can't capture the rook if they capture my rook. If they capture... Oh, wait, so what goes on now? This is incredible. I guess I have to rook lift. This is incredible, but the problem is that punishment really screwed us up, so this is difficult now. What can we do now? I'm going to go for f4. On the next move, I need to spin the wheel, so I'm going to spin it. Obviously, there's only one option now, which is play the next move after this one blindfolded. So the way I need to do that is I need to change the board to blindfold mode. How do I do that? Board... I don't even know how to do that. I need to play my move, so... How do I get it set to blindfolded? Blindfold, okay. How do I go blindfold? This is incredible. I guess I'm just going to use this now. I'm just going to move my queen. I guess that kind of counts as blindfolded. So I did use it. And now I've just changed to a piece set so I can do it quickly. And now this is kind of crazy. So I'm just trying to make moves. This is not my usual piece set, as you guys probably know. I'm just trying to make moves. I need to change back to my normal piece set. Because we played the last move blindfolded. So now we've finished all our punishments, but this is going to be really difficult. I'm just trying to play moves to get time back up on the board. I guess h4 and h5. I need to change my piece set back to what it was before. Oh no, that's even worse. Okay, this is decent. H5 is my idea. Imagine we actually win the game now, though. This would be insane. If we actually win the game, this would be insane. So we've got only 3 seconds. So we've now completed all the punishments. But the problem is we don't... Oh no, I blundered a rook. Oh no. Oh... That's annoying. The rook blunder and punishments proved costly, and the wheel beat us in game 2. And GG's there. We did again complete all our punishments. We survived 71 moves, so I think we did a good job against a 2,000 plus rated player. So that's pretty decent. And yeah, those punishments were really crazy. I think we did a pretty good job up until one of the punishments really killed our position. But yeah, we did a decent job, and on to game number 3 with even crazier punishments. So let's go into game number 3. For game number 3, we have some next level punishments on the wheel, as you guys are going to see, and let's see what pieces we're being given. So we've been given the white pieces once again, and I think I'm going to start off with the move e4, just like so. And in, of course, 4 moves time, we are going to need to use our wheel to see what punishment we get given. So very, very interesting stuff. Our opponent is thinking about their next move. Let's see what they decide to play. They're taking quite long on their first move. This is going to be very interesting. They play the move e5. So I'm going to go, let's go for knight f3. I'm going to switch it up a bit. I'm not going to play a Vienna. Now they're playing the Petrov's defense. So I'm going to capture on e5. And now they attack our knight. And I'm going to drop back to f3, I suppose. And on the next move, we need to use our wheel. So let's spin the wheel and see what it gives us. I'm going to try and play as quick as possible, so I try not to get myself into any time trouble, but let's see how that ends up going. So it's going to land on yellow, so no captures allowed for the next 5 moves unless it is forced. So no captures allowed on the next 5 moves unless it's forced. So let's see how this goes. I can play this move bishop c4. I'm free to play whatever I want, but as long as I don't capture any pieces before the 9th move, then we have successfully completed this punishment. So we're playing this move bishop c4. Let's see what our opponent decides to do. They play this move d5. Obviously I can't capture it, but I wouldn't want to anyway. So I think I'm simply going to drop back to b3, just like so. I'm not much of a Petrov defense theorist. Like, I don't know much of the theory, to be totally honest with you. But then again, I know a couple of the cool stuff in the Petrov defense as black, such as the Stafford Gambit, which is very, very cool. But yeah, I'm going to play this move d3, see what our opponent decides to play. Technically, they could play this and I wouldn't be able to capture back, but now that it is our 9th move, I am allowed to play anything that I want, and I'm going to play this move bishop b5, and we have successfully completed the challenge. So now I can go and remove that off the wheel, sorry. But the thing is, on our next move, seeing as it is now our 10th move, I do need to spin the wheel and see what it gives us. So will it land on yellow, green, red, blue? It looks like it's going to land on red, and it does land on red. So it says, get a piece back to its starting square within 3 moves. So obviously I can't put one of the pieces which is already on one of their starting squares on their starting squares. So it's either got to be this knight, this bishop, this rook, or this king. I think I'm going to complete this straight away, or maybe not. Or maybe not. Actually, I'm going to complete it straight away, and I'm going to get my bishop back to c1, and I can tick this off, and that is now off the wheel. So yeah, now I'm free to play whatever I want for the next 5 moves, and I think now I'm simply going to get my bishop back to g5 again. But we did get it back to its starting square, which was the whole point, which is cool. And now I think that I'm going to go for knight c3. Let's go for knight c3. Just got to try and keep these moves coming in quickly, so then we don't run out of time. I'm now going to play a3, also gives our bishop some breathing room if ever needed. And we've got one more free move before then we need to use our wheel once more. So I'm going to drop back to h4. Please don't play g5. Thank God they don't play g5. And now I do need to spin the wheel. So here we go. The reason I was scared for them to play the move g5 was because I was scared that the wheel would give us something that wouldn't let us defend our bishop or move our bishop. But here we go. So it says play from the other side's perspective for 5 moves. So we're going to flip the board, and now for 5 moves we need to play from the other side's perspective. So I'm going to play this move bishop g3. I'm going to try and play as quickly as possible to keep ourselves with enough time to finish off the game, because I don't want to get into any time trouble. And now this is quite difficult because I've got to think about what we need to play here. It is much more challenging than it looks, to be honest. I'm going to play rook e1, so I've got to play another 3 moves from black's perspective here, and then we could successfully say that we've done this. Oh, this is actually really difficult. It's really, really challenging, this. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna play bishop a2. I don't know what I'm doing here. I've got to play another 2 moves from black's perspective. Now I've got to play 1 more move from black's perspective, and then I can successfully take this off the wheel. So what are we gonna play now is the very important question. I think I'm just gonna... Well, I need to keep this defended, that's the thing. So could bring my king up. That could be a funny thing to do. I also need time though. Could play... No, I'm not gonna play that. That looks dangerous. I'm gonna play d4. And I'm gonna thrust my pawn forward, and now I can successfully flip the board around. And we've now played 5 moves from black's perspective, so that's good. But the thing is, seeing as we spent those 5 moves doing that, on our next move, we do need to spin the wheel again, because that will be our 20th move, and that is, of course, a multiple of 5. So here we go, we're spinning the wheel, yellow, blue, or red. Let's see what it gives us. It needs to spin quickly. It's going to land on yellow. Move your light squared bishop. So That's alright. I'm going to take this knight with our light square bishop just like so, and we could take that off the wheel. So that's pretty lucky, I'd say. So we're not even down in material yet, but I do need to hurry up with what I'm playing. So I'm going to play this move queen d2. It is quite dangerous though. In fact, I am going to pre-move this wheel spin for the next time we need to use the wheel, just so then I know already what I've got to do, and therefore we can kind of just do it without having to spin the wheel and waste time. So it's going to say play with drafts pieces for 3 moves. Obviously in England it's called drafts, but in America it's called checkers. That's why I also include the checkers. So we do need to use those draft pieces in 3 moves time, but let's see what we can do in the meantime with these 3 moves. So this is dangerous. Of course I'm going to play this move rook b1. We've got one more free move after this, and then we need to use these drafts pieces, which is going to be very, very scary for 3 moves. So I'm going to have to memorize the position, which is going to be difficult. And yeah, now I can go ahead and switch it to drafts pieces. If I go to piece set, then we go add, and then to drafts. So this is going to be difficult, and now I need to kind of remember everything that I have. So I think this is a knight. I think I can move this here, so that's one move we've completed. Now I can capture back just like so. That's a rook, so now I'm going to play this move here, and that's 3 moves played, so that's good. And I think we've kept ourselves with a decent position. I'm glad with the way I memorized that, and so now we can go ahead and remove that off the board. And our last challenge is you have to sacrifice a piece in the next 2 moves, but that is of course in 4 moves time. I don't know what I'm going to play. I'm going to play this move b4. Try not to let any rooks in here. So now they move their queen into the position. I'm now going to play c3, and on our next move, we need to sacrifice a piece, which is really going to bum us here, because that is very difficult. I'm going to sacrifice this pawn. Technically, that counts. That is a sacrifice, and now we get to play from this position with no more punishments left to do. Imagine we win the game. That would be insane. So we're sacrificing this pawn, but then again, I guess you could say that we could capture that, but no, because they're capturing back with their rook. I don't really want to give them the open file, but I've got to make a move. I have less than 1 second whilst playing that move. I need to get time back on the board here. This is going to be very difficult. I'm going to play this move, queen c2. I've got to make my moves quickly. It's going to be very, very difficult. I need to infiltrate my rook. I very much regret not doing that. Ah, we ran out of time. No way. Oh, that's such a sad way to lose. No. That's really unlucky. That's really, really unlucky. But then again, very, very unlucky to lose that way. But then again, well played to our opponent. And they also said good game in the chat, so thank you very much to them. And yeah, difficult game. I think we did pretty well with all those punishments though. But yeah, had we maybe had a little bit more time, maybe we would have been able to have done well there. But then again, we lasted 33 moves. We did a pretty good job. And yeah, difficult stuff. Running out of time. Oh, but look at the position. It's not even that bad. But those are the 3 games for today. I really hope you guys enjoyed those 3 crazy blitz matches where we had clock flags, intense positions, and of course, awesome punishments from the wheel. I don't think my blitz rating will be too happy with the wheel, but then again, content is content. Let me know what challenges you guys would like to see in future videos. Of course, I'd love to try them on the chessboard. And see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye-bye.